Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in with us again this week. Welcome to our Pod Vision. I stand corrected, and we are your hosts, Tarpon Total Healthcare. We're a chiropractic office located in Tarpon Springs, Florida, and our mission is to relieve your pain without the use of drugs or surgery and to provide you spinal adjustments that you can trust. My name is Angel. I'm the patient liaison for our office. And I'm also your direct connection to wellness. So welcome to the show. And today we want to also welcome to the show a very sweet lady who is in a very controversial kind of industry in the state of Florida during a time period where everybody's got heightened awareness about the weather and what in the world would happen to my house if it just got swept away into the Withlacoochee. So I would like for you to welcome Bridget Loring, and she is with Brightway Insurance of Palm Harbor. So it is so nice to have you with us today. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
So I got to ask you, and this is a question that I always ask everybody. Instead of being a ballerina or a princess, I wanted to be an ice skater because I love Dorothy Hamill, but I have weak ankles, so that didn't work out for me.
Nice.
What is it about insurance that called you into the layer?
Well, to be honest, didn't really call me. The benefits called me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I was moving from Missouri to Florida, and my sister, way back when, I'm going to age myself now, was on like the monster job hunt.
Okay.
And she was uploading my resumes for me, and it was between Liberty Mutual and Franklin Templeton.
Okay.
So similar industries, but I went with Insurance Liberty Mutual because I had benefits the same day, and I was a single parent, and my daughter needed the insurance because she just had her tonsils removed.
Oh gosh.
I didn't want to pay for Cobra.
Yeah, no, because that's a lot.
Yes.
Honestly. Okay, well that's fair.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the insurance industry?
18 years. This is number 19.
Give me your
Yes.
ID. Give me your ID.
I know.
I don't believe it.
I know. So this is year number 19, I believe, and I just kind of fell in love with it. So I started at the bottom, worked my way up, and just helping people. It just seemed serving. So I stayed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know a number of people that are in the insurance field, the health and the life insurance, and then the, property and casualty and whatnot. And y'all's industry, a little dicey right now.
It's under fire.
It's under fire and water and
Yes.
hail and brimstone and all of that stuff. So what do you, first of all, you're with the Harrington Agency because Brightway is a large umbrella.
Correct.
And so you have different agencies underneath. So you're part of the Harrington Agency.
Exactly.
So tell us about that.
Okay, so Brightway is like a franchise. And a fun fact, it was established and created by two Liberty Mutual brothers. They worked at Liberty and then they started the franchise. The Harrington Agency is Tim Sr.'s wife and two sons. And Tim was working at Liberty Mutual, and he knew the Miller brothers, and he knew that they were starting the franchise. So he was like, you guys go over there. This is a good industry. Let's keep it in the family. I think the Harrington Agency was one of the first to get on board with the franchise.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of cool to know.
Because Tim Sr. knew the people who were creating it.
Right.
So it's a family fun atmosphere. They made it their own little thing. It's not like corporate-y, like Tim Sr. was stuck in corporate America, and then he let the kids and Janet, his wife, go and do the fun thing and do their own thing at the franchise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then the culture is going to be different, of course. And I had
For
friends
sure.
that worked for Liberty, and it's either it's a culture that you love, uber structured, and everything is just kind of mapped out for you. That's not the life for me. I can tell you that right now. Nope, I got to bust out. But for some people, that is the life that they really want, and
Agreed.
so the culture in your office gets to be different
Yes, for
than that.
sure. So it's not as structured. The rules, corporate America is corporate America.
Right.
Everybody knows how corporate America is. So when you can branch out and do your own thing, whether that's wear shorts to work instead of dress pants or, little things that make a big difference in everybody's happiness throughout the day.
Right.
So it's a fun
I'd
family atmosphere.
be down for wearing yoga pants every day. Dr.
Right.
John won't let me. I sneak them in every now and then. It's not very often. So you insure a lot of things. I looked on your
Yes.
website and I was like, holy smokes. Like it's a lot of things. Not every insurance company doesn't insure all the things. And I can't think of is there something that you don't insure? Because I saw furries.
Pets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pets, jewelry. Yeah. Something we don't insure. No, if we don't insure it, it's because the industry doesn't want it right now. I think that would be a pretty fair statement. So it's like there's not really a market, or the carriers have pulled out of the state, like the homeowners
Okay.
insurance. So other than that, if they offer it, we're selling it.
So I saw boats, there's RVs.
Yeah. We call those toys, golf carts, motorcycles, RVs.
Yeah, they are toys.
Yeah,
That's for
that's
sure.
the toys miscellaneous line for us.
Motorcycles, well, because we're in the chiropractic field, so motorcycles, of
Oh,
course, scare the crap out of us
for sure.
because, and then especially in states where you don't have to wear a helmet and things like those, it's such a concern. I have told so many people, my friends who have husbands that insisted that they wanted to have a motorcycle. Well, then I would get $1 million life insurance policy. And if you're living in Florida and you're on US 19 all the time, it's almost a matter of when somebody takes you out because they didn't see you, or, you just weren't driving smart. Then your wife is going to grieve you in Cabo, and she's going to have a pool boy named Enrique, and he's going to bring her drinks, and she's going to cry, and
Yeah.
I digress. But motorcycles, yes, and are
Yes.
considered toys.
Yes. And to your point, we do the life insurance too. So when somebody does call for motorcycle, we definitely are quick to say, would you like a life insurance policy with that?
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know if I would pose that as a question. It would be more of these are the different ones that you can get. And if you want to really grieve him well,
Yes.
in another country, you're going to want to have this package.
That's a good way of doing it. I might just spend and then you can go see the doctor, get some adjustments, always be healthy and happy.
Yep.
It's a good
and
idea.
have the money to be able to do it.
Yeah.
If your husband is driving a motorcycle.
Yeah. And sadly, it's not just US 19 anymore.
No, you're right.
The little side roads are
The
actually
roundabouts.
roundabouts are dangerous for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even just Almerton and Park, Belcher,
That's
if you
growing.
follow the news and you see the accidents, it's almost always the smaller streets that you wouldn't think. Not
Yeah.
so much 275 and US 19.
Well, and I think because I am on US 19, and that's where half of my prayer life happens is in the car, praying and being mad. But so on the way in today from Hernando County, I'm like, why in the world is this bottlenecked? It's bottlenecked for many, many lights. There was a dog, just a little dog. I'm talking a little pocket dog that was in the middle of US 19, and there was a bus that had, jackknifed itself across 2 of the 3 lanes
To save the dog?
And then, thank God I looked in my rearview mirror, and here came a motorcycle, went between all of the cars, on the dotted line, because they think
yeah.
that's their lane. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I almost felt like I had to brace myself for impact,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
probably one of the worst things you can do, because people don't pay attention. And so they use these side streets to try to cut around. And so the side streets are dangerous for those reasons.
For sure.
The same as the main thoroughfare reasons.
Plus, they probably think it's a smaller street,
I can go
lower
90.
speed limit. Yeah, lower speed limit. Not much will happen.
Yeah, who
That's what
cares
it
about
does. Yeah.
the bumps that are going to completely
Or the endless cars that are just coming out of somewhere.
Yeah.
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 So it's a Those are hard conversations you get to have probably on the daily.
Well, interesting enough, they're probably almost the more fun ones because most people think if you're buying a motorcycle, you don't think you're going to crash on it,
Oh, sure.
right? It doesn't matter. And then there's the people who, oh, I just go on Sunday mornings. You're
Just
like,
gonna go cruise after church.
yes, exactly. You're like, you know, how many churches get out at the same time,
Right.
So it's those ones are actually probably a little bit more fun, just because they're already like happy-go-lucky people getting
Right.
a little toy for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
trying to enjoy life.
Yeah. So I think those ones are, and you bring up the life insurance. Some will laugh it off, but call a week later after they've thought about it, and some will just laugh it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh. I mean, like when I say it, haha, not kidding.
Right.
Actually not kidding. And we've talked about it with patients and stuff in our office too. So, so this is, you're going to be picking a road rash out of your arm
Oh.
for 6 months.
Mm.
And, and you just financed another motorcycle. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, they just don't learn. It's almost like, but you have to applaud them, right, for getting up and doing it again instead of being
Right.
scared.
And that's true.
So there's like a little balance there.
That's true.
Although if it was my other half and that happened, I would be like, what? No. You want a trike? You want like a 3-wheel trike one with like lights
Okay.
everywhere?
Are those any better? Those in motorcycles?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like,
I never even thought about that.
they're a little bit bigger, so people can see them. You're definitely not cutting between 2 cars in those, right?
True.
So they're a
does
little
make
bit
it a
more
little safer.
stable. Yeah. Like I was just on Belcher the other day and I saw just a little person on a bike with 4 other people with bikes, but the person was so little that when they came to the stoplight, they couldn't touch. And they were like, and then the bike fell and then they had to push it up.
Oh my gosh.
And I know. And I was like, why are you on the main road?
Don't
Go
they
back
have
to a
to
neighborhood?
do like classes?
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
safety
or something like
class.
that? And
I
that
mean-
person didn't fail the class?
No, I mean, who knows what bike they used in the safety class versus the one they were on the road?
That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
What about what are they called? Slingshots?
Slingshots.
That's not that. They're like there's a it almost looks like the Batmobile.
Oh, so it's like a trike, but a car, right?
Kind-
So it's
ish.
like 3 wheels, 2
Yeah,
in the back,
two in
one in
one
the
in the
front,
front.
but you're sitting down.
Yeah.
I just saw one the other night, and it had like green lights, and it did look like the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And crazy because you couldn't see that car at night.
Mm,
It had like LED green lights like all around it.
right?
But when you're looking backwards through your rearview mirror, it doesn't register that that's a vehicle. It almost just kind of looks like a signage reflection.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Is that considered a vehicle or a toy?
that's a toy. Yeah.
Really?
So automobile has to have 4 wheels. 4 or more.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So anything
then-
less is a toy.
So then that would be one that you should also offer life insurance. If they're trying to get it insured. I'm just saying.
I'm just gonna say we always offer life insurance,
Yeah.
even if you're just like a renter's insurance or pet insurance.
Right.
Especially if you're a pet, I always throw life in because who's gonna take care of your little pet?
Right.
Do you want them to really go to the SPCA? That's not okay.
That's
Pay
true.
somebody to take care of your little loved one, your little fur
That's
baby.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there it is. There it is. Let us ensure your peace
Oh.
of mind. That's sweet.
Yeah, I'm obviously a pet lover. I have 2 dogs. So
Yeah. Yeah. Same. So, but you brought up, you said a word and now my squirrel just went and ran to it, renter's insurance.
Okay.
So here you've got and I'm a landlord. And so I require my renters to have renter's insurance because I care about their contents. But I mean, if we're being honest, like a lot of people, that's not something that they're thinking of. So if the house burns down, well, that's not my house. So, I'm not going to go get insurance, but it's
Yeah.
not the house that is their responsibility to insure. That would be mine as the landlord. But so, I mean, how often do you have conversations where you're having to like really explain to people the necessity of it? It's not a luxury, it's a necessity to have renter's insurance if you're a renter.
Well, I think in today's world, 7 years ago, that's when we had to pretty much explain the benefits.
Right.
Now, so many landlords and apartment complexes mandate it.
Right.
So they don't even really think twice. They just call and ask. And then the conversation rolls with, do you understand the difference between what is being mandated versus proper protection or what we
Mm.
presume as proper protection? And most of the time, they don't really think of it. They're just trying to hurry up and get the lease signed and moved in, which is understandable. But then we're like, you break it down. You say, do you remember how much it costs for that couch that you paid 5 years ago? Like post-COVID world, it's tripled.
Right. Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
And where's your receipt?
right. So it's just like those little things that people don't really think of. And, we have snowbirds, even not so much renters, but snowbirds who just are like, oh, it's just a second house. It's just like thrifted furniture. And we're like, yeah, but that thrifted furniture is like 3 times as much nowadays. Like, so
Right.
you tell me, do you want to go pay that, or are you okay with taking the risk? And if it happens, you will just replace it.
Right.
And it's a 50-50. Some people are very concerned, but the price point is so minimal that most people do just take the additional coverage.
Right.
Yeah, and
When it would
then
make sense to do that.
I think landlords, and if you're a landlord, too, the main mandate is on the liability. Like if something happens, we want to make sure you have liability insurance. That way they're coming after you, not me, as though. So, but most people don't even understand that aspect. So that's what we probably have to explain that more so than covering your contents. Because covering the contents is pretty easy. You just say, hey, anything you're moving in,
Right.
and apartments more so than homes, because you don't know who your neighbor is. Like the person next door, are they smoking in their house? Do they
And
like
are they
candles?
smoking meth in their
Oh my
house?
gosh.
Can a hole get blown between their wall and into mine?
We don't even go that deep, but that's a good point. That is a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we just always say, like, are they a smoker? Do they have blinds or something that might catch on fire?
Right.
It's not necessarily what you might do as a hazard, but the person on the other side of the wall.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm going to be thinking about that all day. Thanks, Bridget.
I know. You're welcome.
But so these different types of coverages, and I mean, we get sometimes as Americans, we feel like we're taxed to death and we're insurance to death. Okay, we gotta have insurance for this. Now I have to have life insurance because I really want to have a toy, but I don't want my wife to, be in debt because of my toy and I, didn't make it through the accident. There's all these things. And so, it's they're what am I trying to say? It's kind of annoying.
For sure.
It is, but they're valid and necessary conversations to have, which is why I say that you're in a really dicey and even controversial industry in Florida, especially during this season, because we're still in hurricane season.
Right.
Until how many more days do we have left?
I don't even know.
Like, hopefully like 10. Like, and
Weeks.
hopefully there's
weeks for sure.
no name storm out there.
Right.
Which is another thing that people don't understand too. So they wait and they're watching. They're like, I don't have flood insurance. Okay. And so now a storm is out there, the guy, the bald guy that everybody's terrified.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that it's getting ready to get real ugly when that guy shows up.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. Couture?
Jim. Couture.
Yeah, yes.
Not Couture. That's
It's something like that, but I know who you're talking about.
Cantor.
And he came, like, I think 2019 was a bigger storm, and it was like category 5, and he was outside and he was holding on. I was like, oh,
yeah,
can't be that bad if he's
Jesus
holding
that day.
on. I'm like, he's not even holding on to anything.
Right.
How bad could it really be? Maybe I'll go stand outside. I was that Floridian.
But so then people wait and then they call their insurance agent and they're like, hey, I want to add flood, not realizing that if there's a named storm, there are no policy changes unless I'm incorrect about that.
Yeah, so not so much. So flood, if you don't have flood, it's an automatic 30-day wait. It doesn't matter unless you're, there's nuances with it. Like, so if you're closing on a house, obviously you can get it within that time frame, like whatever the date of the closing is.
Right.
But generally speaking, if a storm is out there and you're calling us and you're like, I need flood insurance, there's a storm out there, we're going to say, well, FEMA has a 30-day wait. So you can get it.
Has it always
for the
been
next
that
one.
way?
It has. Well, for as long as I've known.
Okay.
So
19 years.
Yeah, for the past 19 years, for sure.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So 30-day wait on the flood. But to your point, what you're referring to, the name storm, a lot of the insurance companies shut down and they're like, hey, you're not allowed to make any changes.
Right.
Because they don't want people upping their coverage. So if the storm does hit them, they have more coverage. Or
Right. 15 minutes ahead of time.
Yeah, or lowering their deductible, like, oh, the storm's coming. I have a 20,000. Let me lower it down to 500. So just
Really?
little things like
know
that
you
were
could have a
happening.
$20,000 deductible.
Some people.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. It's almost as bad as medical insurance, I say.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's a topic that
Yeah.
nope.
I
That's a
know.
frustrating one because
For
it's a
sure.
conversation we have in our office every day too.
Yeah.
So then having flood, okay, so we were talking off camera about flood insurance, and you had said that each company has their own policy standards and things. But so it doesn't make sense. Like if you're living in a high rise and you're on the 5th floor of a 20-floor apartment building, that you would be required to have flood insurance.
Yeah. So that's like one of those topics that kind of get tossed back and forth. So what what people would probably refer to as the common sense thought is it's not going to rise 5 stories, right?
Right.
But then there's the insurance side of it, which is like what caused the loss. So if
Right.
let's just say you have a smaller building and it takes down the building somehow, and it did only
Yeah.
make it to the 2nd floor. The cause of the loss was a flood. So even if you're on the 5th story, the cause of your loss is a flood.
Oh,
So should you
no.
have it? Probably.
That
Everybody should have
stinks.
it. Yeah. And if you are on the 5th floor, it probably isn't going to cost that much more than you're already paying for insurance, because typically the building itself is going to be covered by either the apartment complex or the condo association. So you're not really paying for that much. So why not? If I mean, depending on how much it is for each
Right.
person, but generally speaking, if you're in a high rise, it's not going to be that expensive. So just get it for that what if cause. And then I think in 2019 is when I started maybe paying attention. I don't think I really heard very often about the height. Everybody's like, oh, it's going to be 18 feet. It's going to be 30 feet. 2019 is the first time I really heard like how high it goes.
Right.
And I was like, would that make it to me? Because I'm close to the water. I'm like, I think it would. And then we mapped it and I'm like, that's why we're supposed to evacuate. It would make it to us. It makes sense.
Oh, shoot.
I know. So then you saw what happened recently down south, like Fort Myers, and the water got high, and it just does. So are you protected at 5 stories high? Maybe, maybe not. Just depends where the water's going and how it's coming.
I never thought about, though, like if the apartment building as a whole, sustains damage that is due to like floodwaters.
Yeah, proximate cause.
Right. Okay. And even though the damage in the 5 stories up is not because of flood, but because flood is what created
The loss.
the loss. And if that guy or that guy doesn't have flood, then is it up in the air, or are they looking at a straight up denial?
Yeah, they're looking at proximate cause. They want to see, in today's world, it gets so deep so quick
Right.
because there's so much fraud and there's so many nuances with things. So it literally goes back to your contract. So many people shop insurance and they're like, oh, it's the same coverage, because they see coverage A is 500 and coverage A over here is 500 and coverage B is 10 and 10. But that's just the quick shot of it, right?
Right.
Like the wording that nobody wants to read in the 76 pages or the 85 pages that come.
Right.
That's really how your contract is paid. And when all these lawsuits are flying around the insurance industry, that's what they're looking at. They want to see, what did you promise them when you promised them that 500,000 or that 10,000? How did you promise to pay on those? So that's the important part that a lot of people just don't understand.
Fun fact about me, I actually hold an insurance adjuster's license.
Nice.
And I had wanted to go out to, oh gosh, it was Irma.
Okay.
I wanted to go out to Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi, and I had a truck and a camper, and I was ready to go. And I got stuck at a desk doing HO3 claims. Yeah, it sucks. It killed the vibe for me to even want to continue. But to the part where you're talking about the fine print, I did not have a value. I'm ADHD, dude. I'm not trying to read 76 pages of really anything. And but all of the denials and because I had to write both denial and approval letters, and it came straight out of the body of the policy. And so you had to know it really well. And I mean, I would copy and paste, but I still had to read everything.
Right.
And the denials, like, people don't think about the coverage that they don't have until their loss is not covered. And
Right.
I would assume then that is a not so fun call for you.
Right. Well, it's almost sad because there are some agents that still are in that we want to educate, we want people to know, like, this is what we do for a living, we breathe it, we love it.
Right.
So it's almost sad because we try to tell people, and we were like, try to convince them, like, hey, look, you're complaining because this person raised your rate and they didn't cover this incident. Well, this is why. You like section 2, subsection C,
Yep.
A, you're just going through, and they're like, well, who reads those? And I was like,
You should have.
right. And I'm
Dang.
like, well, you don't even have to read it, right? But like, I'm trying to educate you now on the phone. You don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So it's like, just if you want to read it, then just think like, what's the most common scenario? And then ask whoever you're working with, like, if this were to happen, how am I covered?
Right.
Don't say, am I covered? Because you might be, but how,
Yeah.
right? So
How well am I covered?
Right. So I'm a Tony Robbins person. And he always says, ask better questions and you'll get better answers.
Oh, that's the truth
Mhm.
squared to the purple power.
For sure.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how much time we have left because I've got another question that I really wanted to ask you. So I'm just going to ask it really quick.
Go for it.
What is the most common question that you get asked?
Why is my rate going up? They told me my rate was going down. Why did it go up?
Right.
And then, you have to break down who told you. My other insurance company. That's why I'm shopping. Well, did they tell you why they thought it would go down? When was the last time you've seen it go down? You haven't seen it go down in 19 years, but now you think it's going to go down? Like, there's like a common sense part to it.
That'd be frustrating.
Mm-hmm. But there's also depends on what you're talking about, right? Like car insurance. The new cars have so much technology.
Right.
So that technology costs more. A bumper 10 years ago would be $500 to fix. Now it's $2,000. So, we all have to cover those costs. And you see how many accidents are on US 19.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Over a little puppy in the middle of jackknife with the bus.
And whoever saved that puppy, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
that
you.
was very, very sweet.
You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just keep going, but thank you.
Thanks for saving the puppies.
Yes, I love puppies.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. This has actually been probably one of the more fun conversations I've had about insurance. Honestly, you've provided some really great information. So make sure that you follow them on their social media pages. You can actually get a quote. You can if you're shopping, you should be shopping, talk to your agent, but then talk to Bridget. Bridget is a wealth of information that she can provide for you. So you can make the most educated decision. Ask better questions and you'll get better answers, but it sounds like she's got better answers ready to offer. So follow them on social, follow us on all of our socials. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we're Tarpon Total Healthcare. We're the chiropractic office that is the host of I Stand Corrected. And we keep you aligned so you too can stand corrected. Have a great day.